This has been outstanding from the West Indian pacers.
Many people won't believe that Jayden Seales is the youngest member of the West Indies Test squad, but he is 22 years young. Jayden Seales, Jayden, you're back in Test cricket. I know the journey's been difficult, with injuries, etc. But just how good does it feel to be back on the field doing what you love?
Yeah, it's obviously a very special feeling for me. Representing West Indies again in any format is a big thing, more so Test cricket for me. It was one thing that I wanted to do since I was like 12, 13 years old, and now living the dream. Still at times I think I have to pinch myself to realize, okay, yes, I'm really doing this now, so it's obviously a proud moment for me to be back.
I want to go back a bit in terms of some of the injuries that you've sustained. Obviously, 22 you had the knee injury, recently you've had the shoulder injury. How have you learned to sort of cope with these injuries when they do come up, and how mentally challenging has it been?
Yeah, when I had the knee injury and I met the doctor and he told me that I would miss cricket for at least 6 months, I went back to the hotel and I was on the phone with my parents and I just broke down. I was in tears. I was frustrated, obviously, missing cricket for so long. And I thought I was bowling well at the time, so obviously being out of cricket and not being able to play the sport that I dearly love, it took a toll on me and I was depressed. I had my parents and I had my girlfriend support. All the support staff from Trinidad and West Indies were always keeping in contact with me.
With the shoulder, take me back to the beginning when was that first time you actually felt it, and were you worried when you felt it? Did you know straight away it would be serious?
So we were playing the A-team tour to South Africa and I was feeling that mid-off and I dived for the ball to my right. And when I hit the floor, I heard a crack. So I wasn't sure what it was, I just went down in pain. And I tried to calm myself, probably not to over-exaggerate or overreact the situation. And I tried lifting my shoulder up and I couldn't get raised. And I actually felt my shoulder first to see if it was dislocated and didn't feel anything. So I tried raising it and nothing was happening. I was, this bad. And then the physio came on, went into the dressing room, I was frustrated, angry because, again, I'm now coming off an injury, bowling well, feeling strong, feeling confident in my body again, and then another setback. So it was tough to take. And then, they broke the news that it was a grade 2 ACJ sprain and I had to miss cricket for at least a month or at least 6 weeks. Although it was shorter than the knee injury, it still felt like an age to get better because it was just so slow because no surgery was needed. So it was just me doing rehab constantly for the 6 weeks that I was out. It was frustrating, but I trusted the process. I had no choice because I know where I wanted to be. I know I wanted to be back playing cricket. And I gave myself a timeline as to when I'll be back, and I just stuck with it. It was challenging at times. It had days where I was thinking I might not come back the same, I might not be able to bowl fast again. I might not have the same skill set that I do now. So it took some time to really get over that hurdle, and I'm just really, really happy to be back playing and confident in my body again.
What type of person are you when you're dealing with those injuries? Is it you don't want to watch any cricket at all because obviously you missed the Australia series, or are you watching and still supporting the guys and paying a keen interest?
No, still watching as much as I could. So when the guys were in Australia, obviously it would be late in the Caribbean, so I'd probably go and take a nap during the day and get up around close to start to play and watch as much as I could until I fell asleep. And every morning I'll get up, I'll check the scores just to see how we were going, how we were doing. And when I saw we won the second test match, I could not believe that we won the game, mainly because of the history that we have going to Australia, and the team was so young. And it was just a very proud moment for me to see that the team actually did it and we could do it. So it gave me that extra drive now to push myself when I get back into the setup to help the team even more.
And when you're facing those periods, long periods of injury, no cricket is being played, what is keeping Jayden Seales going? Like, what is keeping you motivated and wanting to push you to get to that return?
Well, I had a goal when I was younger that I want to be #1 in the world as a fast bowler for at least 3 to 5 years. It could be less than that if I do reach to that point in my career, but I know that I want to get to that, and I don't want to be out of the game and have to retire early because of injuries. So I try to keep pushing myself. When I get injured, I tend to go into a strict diet where I don't eat much junk, try and stay as fit as possible, and do everything that I could to make sure that when I get back onto the field that I'm ready to go again and I could have that belief and trust in my body.
Tell me about England, because I know that played a huge part in your rehab before the actual test series. What was your stint with Sussex like, and what did you enjoy about it?
It was good. Being able to get around and play county cricket for the first time was obviously very good for me. It helped me to understand the English conditions, understand myself as a bowler and as a player, and it allowed me to grow into a different culture and understand how they played their cricket and what they were looking for, and it allowed me to express myself a lot more as well. And obviously playing in the English conditions at that time and knowing that we had a series against England, it gave me that belief that, okay, I perform here, I get back into the squad. I'm not likely to start, but at least I'm back in the squad as a stepping stone, and that I'll take that extra step some point in time and get back into the team.
When I see you bowling long spells like in that first test, I often think to myself, what is going on mentally? Because obviously you have the injuries at the back of your mind. How do you put that away and not have to think about it? Or is it something that is at the back of your mind? How do you deal with that whole process?
Yeah, before coming back and playing test cricket, it was something that would be at the back of my mind, because especially with the knee, like after a spell, when I was now coming back, I would be limping, but not because of pain, it's just that obviously the muscles are still a bit weak and they're not conditioned well for the amount of workload. So at one point it was at the back of my mind, but now since I'm fully confident in my body, I can move around, dive, sprint behind balls. Now it is the furthest thing away from my mind.
Let's talk a bit about the cricket then. We're talking after you've made your Queen's Park Oval debut. I say that because you've played a decade of club cricket at that ground. To step onto that field, even though you've played as many tests as you have, was it different, and what was that feeling like?
Yeah, it was. Obviously playing for the first time for West Indies in a test match at the Oval was special for me. Had my family there, and I know they were very proud to see me walk onto the field and play for West Indies in the Oval. And it meant a lot to me, coming through from under 13 all the way and playing for Queen's Park. I made my first team debut after the under 19 World Cup, so it was a big stepping stone. It was a long journey, and I'm just really proud of that moment.
I remember actually that under 19 World Cup you speak about. When you burst onto the scene, a lot of people were comparing you to Rabada because of the action, because of the length.
Kaigiso Rabada. This is what makes him one of the best in the world. And South Africa on top.
Now you're playing against him. How much of an inspiration, and just seeing what he's achieved, how much has that served for you and your drive?
Yeah, we were watching his stats on the TV every time it came up during the test match, and it was remarkable that the amount of wickets that he has taken at such a quick strike rate in so many test matches. And for me, I would look to emulate that or even do better for myself as a player. And playing against him now, when I made my debut, I was not as experienced as I was now back then. And I wasn't as confident in my ability. And when I saw him playing and I saw how good he was as a player, it gave me that extra push, that knowing that I could actually be that and even better than him at some point.
Bang on target, and the excellence continues for Shamad Joseph and Jayden Seales.
As much as you look up to him, it hasn't stopped you from being quite aggressive when you bowled him in the test match. I love that rivalry you had when you were bowling, he was batting. What did you say to him, and what was that battle like?
So I think I bowled him a short ball and he kind of flinched or he hit it for 4.
Initially thought he would have ducked under it, Rabada, but then decided to play. Important runs with that boundary, and he smiles about it. 337 for 8. Seales is not happy.
And I was chirping at him, and he said, "You're chirping at a number 10. I said, "Well, you're not special, bro. I was chirping at everyone before. That it doesn't make a difference whether you're number 10 or number 1. I'm still going to chirp." And I think that came from me just watching Sir Curtly Ambrose and all the greats play. They didn't say a lot, but just their presence, you felt like they always had that presence about them, that they would be aggressive towards the batsman no matter what. And I try to bring that into my game, mainly because it gets me into the game a lot more. I think when I'm in a contest or when I get myself into a fight, it switches me on a lot more and it helps me to control my emotions and bowl a lot better.
And what about Ngidi giving you after he got you out?
And that is the end of it. Ngidi says to keep things quiet, Jayden.
So that's a funny one, because when he came out to bat, I think he batted 2 balls from Warwick, and I was saying, well, this is a walking wicket, so just get him out, Warwick, just get him out, walking wicket. So when I got him out now, I said, walking wicket, I told you so. So he was giving me a bad because he got me out. So when he got me out, I told him, it doesn't make sense chirping at me, mate. You got a number 11 out. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, in the previous answer, you said about controlling your emotions, Jayden. A few of your teammates, I won't call any names, a few of them are petrified of you when they're in the field and the guy edges or maybe hits the ball in the air and they unfortunately put down the catch. They've tried their best, but they put it down. They said that Jayden, he's very harsh on us. What would be your response to that and them?
Edge and dropped. Disappointment for Jaden Seales.
There's no hard feelings. I mean, nobody goes out on the field to drop a catch or to disappoint. It all happens as part of the game. It's just me in the heat of the battle, you know. You're working your hardest to get the wicket for the team. It doesn't come off, that's part of the game, but it's just in the heat of the battle. No hard feelings towards any of my teammates.
And just in terms of that whole process of you being aggressive but being very vocal on the field, the passion that we see every time you run in and bowl, where do you think that is coming from inside? Even after a long day where nothing is really happening for you guys, we tend to always see you be up for the contest. Where do you think you're getting that from?
I think it's probably just from being competitive and growing up home playing cricket in the backyard. And also with Craig, when I made my debut, he always, every time when he was feeling at mid-on, he would always remind me, Test cricket is tough. You need to be strong, you need to be able to be ready for a fight, be up for the challenge. And I try to, every time I come on to bowl, I keep hearing those words in my head. You want to play Test cricket, this is how it's going to be. It's tough. You need to be ready to take on the hard challenges. And I try to push myself all the time to always give 100% no matter what the situation is.
Slashed and gone. Another wicket. Chasing the wide one. Verena.
You're sitting here and I'm looking at your arms, Jayden, and I'm seeing a lot of tattoos. Do they have any relevance to your cricket career? What do they signify?
Yeah, so all my tattoos, they have a purpose. So the first one I took on my forearm, on the right forearm, was an hourglass. It had God's timing at the bottom of it. That was from when I came back from the knee injury. And I also had one on the inside of my bicep where no matter the situation, I always put my trust in God. That's just for me to keep remembering, no matter what happens, no matter what I encounter, whatever challenges or difficulties, I'll keep trusting in God and everything will work out the way it's supposed to. And this one is just a lion and it has hard work beats talent. That's just a motto I go by where I can be how talented I want. If I don't work hard, I don't think I'll get the rewards or the success that I have to get. So I just keep putting in the work all the time.
And the heart? Don't leave out that one.
The heart, that's my girlfriend.
Nice. Obviously, having one of the best Test years of your career in 2024, you mentioned your goal is to be the #1 in the world. What do you think Jayden Seales must add to his game now to get there one day?
I think I need to be a lot more consistent. I think I do it at times, but not for long enough, or at least for how long I want to do it. And just to find my length more often and a lot faster and control my length, being able to control the batsman's scoring rate and control where they score. And by doing that, I think, yes, a lot more wickets would come, but I think I'll be able to keep my economy rate down a lot more and help the team in controlling the runs.
And any change to the controlling of the shouting of your teammates, or you're happy with that?
No, I'm very happy with that. That's just in heat of the battle.
Well, so much potential. Just 22 years old, but far from finished, and more shouting coming.